Hello everyone, get your fly bullets ready because we're firing off today's video with the Beelzemon deck profile. I ended up getting 5th in Top Cuts Regionals online. I ended up losing to the first place winner, the Red Hybrid player. Other than that, I pretty much went undefeated. Um, I know this is just another Beelzemon deck profile, but Um, I will say that my list is significantly different than other Beelzemon players, mainly because it's based off a Japanese listing, and well, I guess you'll see in the profile. So let's get started. Starting off, it's gonna be 4 Yamons. I do like Pagus, but Yamon's just so much better. Um, in most cases, you want to control your mills instead of having your opponent being able to like set off your mills with the on deletion effect from the Pagu. There's also certain situations like All Force, for example, that bounces off your bodies on board, so the Pagu won't actually get your mills there. So I'd rather just swing mill 2, and it's like, okay, cool, it did its job and milled my cards, and that's why I prefer the Yaman. Next is the rookies. 4 starter deck Invons, pretty standard. I mean, it's one of your best rookies in the deck. Warps into your Beelzemons once you hit that 20 card threshold and trash. The Inheritable pops any floodgates. It's just a really good card overall. More than likely, that's the one you want to Evo 2 into the stack. EX2 Immon. I know this is going to get literally hit tomorrow to 1. But at the end of the video, we'll talk more about like substitutions as to replace like the 3 slots from this Immon. From what I've seen in like other players testing it, the deck losing this Immon is not even like a huge deal for it. Like it's still really powerful deck. But yeah, you basically just most of the time want to mill 3 off this guy. If it becomes to the late game, obviously you want to control your mills. It is a Yume effect, so you don't have to mill 3. And if you do mill, you can choose up to 3, so you can mill 1 minimum. And then there's times where you could just hard play it, search top 4. There's a good amount of the times where I've played this and I grabbed Ayamako and like a BLs or a Blast Mode or something like that. So that's pretty good. And that 3k threshold is really strong in like certain matchups. Next we got Imp X. I mean, it's your X antibody rookie finally. Purple has X antibody. You Evo for free, you trash any option in your hand, and then you get to basically recur anything from your trash. Any evil wizard or demon lord in traits, which is basically all your Digimon in your deck. So, and then the inheritable you mill 2. You just want to keep going with your mills. Next is another 3 BT2 Immons. You thought the rookie stopped there, but no, it keeps going. I mean, pretty simple. It's good chip damage. Mill another 3. Especially against like the mirror. There's times in the mirror where they have like started deck imp in the back. They have like the good setup. You could play this. It doesn't matter the memory you give them. Just they usually just Evo. They mill. They have to pop this from the starter deck Imon, and then you just mill your 3, and then your mills could possibly like either net them their memory, or you can like possibly get rivals. Maybe EX2 BLs gets milled, and you spawn more Imons, and you have like a wider board. So really good overall little Immon. And then lastly, 1 BT6 Immon. Just more recursion. You get this lets you at least, unlike Immon X, you get to trash any card from your hand and then grab a 7th-grade Demon Lords or 3 Musketeers from your trash. I've spawned it a few times off of EX2 Beelzemon, so it comes in clutch when you really need to. And yes, that is 16 rookies. That is like the biggest difference in my deck compared to other BL's list. I know that some people like to have certain other ratios for the rookies. Most of the time, 13 is what I'm seeing from typical lists, but honestly, there are times where BL's players end up milling like a good amount of their rookies because sometimes I mean like a good amount of the time, uh, sure they might have like the cracked mills, but then they're also milling like other cards on top of that. So more than likely than not, they might mill more. They might mill their rookies, and in the mid to late game, it could be pretty bad if you do end up responding to them pretty well. That they won't be able to have like a rookie in the back, you know. So it is still good in general to have a lot of rookies in your deck. You just kind of always want to see them. Next is level fours. Whoops. There we go. 4 Wizard Mons, pretty standard. Mill it, gain a memory. The Inheritable is really good to stack any card in your deck from your hand to your deck, and then you just mill it off literally in that same turn. 2 Wizard X's. I know that usually you see like 3 to 4, but seeing how I'm running 16 rookies, I do have to cut back on the ratios. So yeah, it's pretty standard. Your X antibody line. If you don't, you can just raw Evo, mill 2. The blocker really rarely comes up. It could be clutch sometimes, but most of the time you're just milling to either get like a bigger stack or just to raw Evo to get the mill 2. And then the Inheritable is another mill 2, so it's really strong. 2 Witchmons. This is a pretty standard 1 or 2 Witchmons. There's times where I honestly prefer, not even most of the time, I would like to see this Witchmon over the Wizard X unless I want like a specific stack. But just to like raw Evo into it, I just prefer this one because milling one more card is just like so powerful a lot of the time. The Inheritable to give like any wizard or demon lord plus 2000 is pretty sick because you can make your Balmons basically swing for 9k sometimes and they just end up living. Next is going to be 3 starter deck Balmons. I know there's like certain lists that run, whoops, oh, there we go. Yeah, 3 starter deck Balmons. There's certain lists that run 4. I like to run it at 3. It's mainly because of the rookie ratio, but it's a good lot of the times it's like you need to see it to have like that early Evo with like the Ayamako combo, but there's other times you want to see another Balmon, so, which is why I play the BT10 Balmon. And yes, I only play 5 level 5s. I do not play the X antibody package. I think that package is bait and kind of it can come in clutch sometimes with the X antibody option, but a good lot of the times I would Evo into Bow X, and most of the time I would basically just want to get the X anti from trash. It's literally it. Popping a level 4 lore is nice, but it doesn't really do much else. Like you swing 10k at security, I guess. You know, I guess that's cool. But I pretty much prefer this lineup in Balmons. This is still like the Balmon you want to Evo into most of the time. But if you do have like the really good mill stack, like your entire X antibody line, this is like your best Balmon in the deck when you get into that really good stack. Like where you go Imp X, Wizard X, you go into this Balmon, you're milling 9 cards minimum. You can probably mill more if you have the EX2 Immon milled or stacked with the Wizardmon Inheritable. It's really, really powerful. Next, we go into level 6s. 2 EX2 BLs. It's nice to get the mill off. It's not necessary to play it at 3. I can see it probably being played at 3 later on, but honestly 2 is fine. I've milled it enough times where just getting the 1 extra body is already nice enough. Like you don't really need any more. 2 start deck BLs. This is the main BLs you want to Evo into most of the time because you mill 2 more extra cards compared to the EX2 Beelzemon. And then like just having that set +1 and then extra memory gain is just always really strong. So um, and the 12k threshold does kind of come up with like the DP boost, the DP difference, 12k, 11k. Um, but most of the time you kind of want to just evo into this. You go into the other one if you like want to control board more. If you feel like that's what you need, then you could do that one instead. 2BL's X. I mean, that's pretty standard. You guys know what this guy already does. Just trash security. Uh, Basically spawn any Imon and name and trash if it dies. Other than that, like this is like your main powerhouse of the deck. And then lastly, one more level 6. It's Beelstar. She has clutched me so many games in the regional. There was so many times where I literally just won because of her. Uh, there was like a few. There was like I want to say 2 situations where it looked like it was kind of not a winnable state, and then just being able to play her for one, and just mill and spawn another like a starter deck Immon, and then swing warp, uh, swing 2, or not even have to warp. You just need that extra swing. It's just so clutch. There's times where you can even play her when you're like at like 20 cards in, trash, and then you have like a decent amount of memory to play her for 5. Then you could play her for 5. They end up swinging. Okay, it doesn't matter. You mill a card, possibly gain a memory, or you can mill like a Rivals Barrage to set up next turn. And then you spawn an Itmon from your trash, and it's an extra body on board. Like that's just incredibly strong. She has saved me so much. I really want to bump her to 2, but the list is already tight as it is currently because of all the Beelzemons you kind of have to run. But maybe with the EX2 imp hit, we'll see whether I bump her up to 2 or not. Next, one blast mode. You only really need one. You only ever have to see it the one time. If it's in security, it kind of sucks, but like Beelstar kind of like makes up for that lack of the extra swing, so it doesn't really matter. Just the one the blast mode is already good enough. And then obviously the mill effect is just like EX2 BLs. Pop a level 3 or lower, and then every 10 it just pops higher. There's those like 1 or 2 times where I didn't have enough to like pop something with like EX2 BLs, and then just milling this blast mode came in clutch. And that's it for Digimon. Next is 3 Ayamakos. I'm probably gonna bump it up to 4 after the EX2 Imon hit. But honestly, 3 is already good enough. There's times I've argued with other BLs players where you don't need 4. I understand this card is cracked, but you need to relax, because instead of just playing another Ayamako, search another 4, you can just already draw into the piece that you need instead of literally playing this back to back and then just searching pieces after pieces. It's a really strong deck. It's a strong card, but it's not so necessary that you need to play it at 4. With the EX2 Imp, I can definitely see it being played at 4 just because you need the extra, just like an extra card to fill in the gap. But other than that, 3's fine for me. You don't need anything else. Then options, 4 Death Slingers, same thing as Wizard. You mill it, gain memory. It's a good security bomb, especially like mid to late game. It's 4 cost. It's such a good card just to basically almost pop anything. It's kind of I think it's kind of mandatory to run at 4, to be honest with you. I can't really see this being cut to 3. Next is Rivals. 4 Rivals. I mean, this is literally one of your strongest recursion cards in the whole deck. You can grab either Purple Digimon or Pepper Tamer. So if you really need that Ayamako, you can grab back Ayamako. I never really do that. There's very, very low situations I do grab the Ayamako, but most of the time I'm just grabbing Digimon. And then obviously another security bomb, so it's really, really good. And then finally, 2 full clusters. I've seen lists run it at 1, but honestly I really like it at 2. Being able to have 2 in trash, going to Beelzemon X, and then just let's say in like the War Gray matchup, or maybe like Machine Dramon, for example, where they have like multiple layers of protection, being able to activate this twice and get 2 layers of protection off is just huge. compared to just the one. And then being able to not deck out is nice too. You know, that's kind of part of the reason this card's like really good in the deck as well. And then obviously another security bomb. So you know, it is what it is. As for matchups, I did end up taking notes of every single matchup I got. Round one was a no-show, which was it was cool, but you know, I don't like waiting around for like a whole hour, so it was kind of boring for the most part. But and in the off chance I do lose, which I did lose one match, it kind of messes up the tiebreaker, so that's not really fun that much. Round two, Machine Vaughn, 2-0. It was I honestly was just faster. Game two, he kind of just bricked a little bit, and that double cluster it in both games actually was like insanely good. So round three was yellow hybrid. I basically was just fast enough where game one was just like didn't matter. You kind of just like have to wait up that matchup a little bit. I think he started off like TK Kari in game one and two, like in the very beginning. So I was just kind of setting up. I wasn't swinging at security because as soon as they hit lower security than I do, they're just gaining extra memory, and I'm not gonna give them that. He did end up getting temp too. That was the yellow hybrid player in Top Cut. He ended up getting temp. He ended up going 7-1-1, so that's pretty good on him too. I also like the deck, so I'm really happy he got that high. Next was round four. It was just Greymon toolbox, so they're just playing like 2-2-2 of like the level sixes. So War Gray, Black War Gray X. I basically was I think in that matchup I was just a little bit crazy on my mills. He couldn't really do a whole lot, and you could just play around Raid. Raid is not that hard to play around against. You kind of just suspend your Digimon, and then they can't really like swing unsuspend with Raid with the War Gray and do that many checks. They still get the piercing check, sure, but then like if you have floater, it doesn't really matter because you just spawn back your body. Round five was Crossheart. That match was actually incredibly close, both games. I still got a 2-0, but it was like such a nail biter of a match because Crossheart still does Crossheart things. They just go so fast with like their Ricky Rush style type of thing. Luckily, I was just able to control their board while also trying to chip away and just set up where I can just go into my BLZ plays. Round six, Bloom Lord. I got that 2-1. I ended up breaking super hard game one, so that was like my first ever game that I lost the whole entire tournament. And then games two and three. Game two was super scary because he kind of like triple hydrated me, and I somehow was able to clutch that out. I don't know how, to be honest with you. BL is just a crazy deck to be able to get around that. He even ended up quartzing me at some point too, but again, full cluster. It's such a powerful card. Like I cannot see this being put to one in my list, and any given list for Beelzemon, to be honest with you. Next was round seven was Beelz X Mirror. I got that 2-1. That was actually against Cardfight King himself. Game one, I got it pretty solidly. My mills were just, you know, pretty good in my opinion. Round two, it was a super close match. He ended up clutching it out because he ended up. I did like a risky play where I played Bialstar for like 9, and I gave him like 7 memory or something like that. And I had the starter deck Beelzemon on board. The only reason I did that was just because he needed to have double cluster there to respond to that deck to that board. If he did not, then as soon as he swung, if I milled one, I can spawn an Amon and I would gain memory off the Beelzemon effect. So like if you just did the one cluster and just pop Beelstar, that's already good enough for me. I still have a Beelzemon on board. I could just set up next turn, mill, and then gain memory and then set +1, so that's fine with me. But he did double cluster, so he's able to get rid of both. It was super close, and then game 3, I literally had the Baumon BT10 God stack, and it was just game over from there. It was unfortunate. Round 8. This is where I lost to. I think his name is Hayden, I believe. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. But it was the red hybrid player. I did get game 1. I kind of just high rolled game 1. Game 2, I did a small misplay. He had like a really big, like level 4 stack where it was just like Aguni, Burning Gray, Aguni, Burning Gray, basically. I ended up trying to control that board, and then I swung at security because I kept turn with the EX2 Beelzemon. I swung into an Atomic Inferno first check, and then he had 4 hybrids in his trash. He promoted Flamemon, swung the Flamemon into Beelz because it was suspended, just to get 5 in trash. He had the memory setter to Kuya, so he was already at 3-1-0. He warped into burning, into Emperor Greymon off the other Takuya that he spawned. He was doing 3 to 4 checks. I think it was 1, 2, 3. It was 4 checks, but I only had 3 security. He didn't even have the Aldemon in there to like check no options. I just had no options in security to like actually get rid of that, and then he just blitzed Omni for game. I think instead of just going into EX2 Beelzemon and going into the starter deck, I would have been fine there, because then I probably would have put him at 1 there. And I wouldn't have swung into Atomic Inferno either. Game 3, I just hard braked. It was just really sad, but it is what it is. And then the final round, Bloomlord, I got that 2-0. That matchup was actually a lot easier than the other Bloomlord I fought, because I pretty much just like rolled a little bit too high and was just like significantly faster than Bloomlord. And that's it. That is deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Peace.